Well, welcome everybody to our webinar today. My name is Barb Howe, and I do business development here at the Colorado Department of Agriculture. We're super excited for today's webinar, and I just have a couple little housekeeping slides, if you will, that I just want to share before I turn it over to our amazing guest today. We're going to be talking about preparing for your farmers markets, and this is great because that time of year is coming up. It's so exciting. Today we have Erika Tebbens, and Erika is the Director of Impact at Taste the Local Difference, and this is her email address. And just something to keep in mind as she's talking, we'll mute our microphones, and this just helps eliminate background noise. Questions are welcome and encouraged, so please feel free to raise your hand physically or with the little emoji, however you like to do it, or type your question in the chat. I'll be watching that and we'll make sure everybody's questions get addressed. We're going to again ask for questions throughout her presentation, and I'm sure she will as well. But, don't hesitate. If you have something, put it in the chat and we'll address it. And if you have any questions after the webinar, go ahead and feel free to email me. My email is here on the screen, barb.howe@state.co.us. So thank you all for joining. And a little bit about Erika. As I mentioned, Erika is the Director of Impact at Taste the Local Difference, as well as being a marketing expert with more than 20 years of running all kinds of businesses. Taste the Local Difference is a local food marketing agency for purpose-driven food and farm businesses. Erika has spent a decade working with entrepreneurs on their sales and growth strategies. So welcome, Erika, and thank you so much for taking your time to do this. I
Yeah,
turn it
thank you
over to
so
you.
much.
I'm excited. I love farmers market season.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm gonna um, share my slide deck now. Let me hit present. Oops, there we go. Present. Okay, perfect. All right, so we're gonna prepare for your farmers market because it is about that time. So, a little bit about Taste the Local Difference, where I work. So, we really know local food. We're all about local food. It's what we specialize in. We like to uh, create different, really effective marketing and communication strategies for agriculture, food, and beverage producers. And that's because we believe in uplifting these purpose-driven and passionate entrepreneurs to tell their stories, find local customers, and build successful, well-connected businesses. So pretty much everyone that we work with is connected to food systems in some form or fashion. And our core values are supporting the local food economy, transparency in the food system, and authentic and trusting relationships. And this is a picture of me from about probably 2013, 2014, something like that. So this is when I had my little farm and I was vending at the farmer's market. And so I have a background myself in working with entrepreneurs and also farming and also in food access. And I just really love supporting local food as well. So let's talk about why marketing matters for farmers market vendors. So hopefully your farmers markets are also doing marketing of their own. I do have a resource that I will share. We're actually doing a webinar this Wednesday specifically for farmers market managers to help them do better marketing. But it's important for vendors to market as well. And farmers markets are, they're more than just a shopping destination. They really are community hubs. Good marketing boosts market attendance, and inconsistent branding and marketing equals lost opportunities. So it's really important that customers recognize and remember your booth. So even if they can't always maybe remember the name of your farm or your business or your products or whatever, having a visual brand and identity that is memorable, having a nice like layout that is striking. Those are things that people remember. And having that consistency, it builds trust. And trust is really needed for patronage. Trust is the thing that gets people to spend their money. And some key marketing challenges that we know from working with, hundreds of people across food systems, many of which are vending at markets currently or have been vendors at markets and are now, scaling up their businesses even more. They often run into not having enough time or budget to focus on marketing. They are struggling to keep social media and email consistent, or they simply lack marketing or technical knowledge or support. This is really common, and it's why one of the things that we love to do is education, because we know marketing can sometimes be confusing. So let's talk about some of those visual assets and the power of branding. So a lot of times you think of a brand, you just think of a logo, right? So you think of like the Nike swoosh, or you think of the Starbucks mermaid, or those really iconic things. But it's actually the overall identity of the business. So, as I already mentioned, a cohesive brand, it builds trust, and it's also going to increase recognition, and it's going to make your booth feel professional and well organized. So, one nice thing about having these visuals as well is that not only will it make the booth look really professional and well organized, but it's going to make all of your other marketing assets look really professional, and it's going to make them a lot easier for you to create, and it's going to save you tons of time. So the key branded visuals that every vendor needs that are really good to have are having a consistent logo and colors. So this is called like your brand identity or your brand identity kit, and it's going to be recognizable across all materials, meaning that if you are creating graphics for social media to publicize something, that that looks cohesive. You're not just going into Canva and finding something random and then just duplicating it as is and swapping out the information. You want to be sure that it has your logo on it somewhere, if that makes sense in that case. Or but and definitely it has your brand colors. And typically some brand fonts as well. So you'll notice that in this slide deck everything is very cohesive, right? You'll notice the same different fonts over and over, the same colors, the same types of layouts, things like that. Then professional signage. So, as I already said, once you have that brand kit, it makes creating everything else so much easier. So you can then get a branded banner, tablecloth, and or tent. Now, you certainly don't need to have, a branded tent or tablecloth immediately, because depending on your budget, that might not be feasible. But having a really nice branded banner that you can have up, behind you is really, really great for brand recognition. One thing I would advise against is having it in this front section here, where because people are going to come up and they're going to be standing in front of it and they're going to block it, right? So then people won't get to see it. So hang it up behind you. I kind of already mentioned a bit, but it's worth repeating social media and website graphics. So you can use a program like Canva to create graphics in your own branding. And this is a really wonderful thing we do, or that we recommend that you do, or that you hire professionals to do for you, to do some templates that you can just repurpose on your own. But it should also match your website, right? So your website should have the same colors, fonts, and it should definitely have your logo on it. And also like a high quality version of your logo that doesn't get like grainy or granular either. And then email templates. So if you're sending out email newsletters or customer communications, which is definitely something that we really recommend, email is really powerful. It's great to have your branding visuals in there as well. So
Can I
I'll
just
show
ask
you
a
a case
quick,
study. Oh yeah,
I'm sorry,
go
can I
ahead.
just ask a quick question? Back
Hmm.
to that what kind of guidelines would you provide our member? Could you provide our members with about maybe what percent, like how much of their budget should they spend on those graphics, like the sign, the tablecloth, the tent, things like that, just to maybe for an idea?
Oh, yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, I would say, it's going to depend, obviously, what, what year somebody is in their business, how much capital they have to invest. Um, I would say, especially as somebody who had my own farmer's market, like, my own farm, I'll even go back. You can see I have my signage right here, and these are just regular tablecloths. I do have, it's hard to see in this picture, but I do have branded, this is a branded sign, and I have my business cards clipped on here. And I have some other like branded signage as well that is like borrowed from some of these elements and these colors and fonts and everything. My brother's actually a graphic designer, so this was so long ago that I worked with him and he helped me with that, which was wonderful. But yeah, but I would say, at that point in time, I had gotten some funding through kiva.org, which is micro lending, to help with that. And so in my tent it's just a plain tent. And so I really prioritized on, what was going to be sort of the most essential. And I definitely wanted that signage so that people would see and would remember. And at the time, I really wanted those business cards. I like in this much more digital era now, I would be less likely to make business cards, and more likely to have something like QR codes on the table for email sign up and things like that. So yeah, I would say, having a good um like at least I would say set aside, 5 to 10% and figure out like one of the nice things about Taste the Local Difference is that people can come to us and we can help them figure out prioritization, because we don't expect people to be like marketing experts. So we can go through and figure out, what are the things that you might need, what is your short-term plan, your long-term plan, and then we can prioritize that to help you budget, which year will you invest in which things. And then, if you get extra, if you have a really good sales year, you get extra funding somehow or a grant or whatever, then we can always bump up the timeline on some of those things.
Great.
But
Thank
that's a
you.
great,
Interesting.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. So the Ipsy Farmers Market is, this is actually where I live in Michigan. They wrote us into a farmers market promotion program grant because they are moving market locations and also just want to publicize the market even more in the process. So we are doing this big, big, big project for them, but it allows us to do a lot of different services that we offer. So, for instance, a comprehensive marketing plan. So, how to market, where to market, when to market, what to say when you market, all of these different things. We created social media strategy and 3 branded templates. Did email marketing with 3 email templates, which are over here. You can see that's a picture of the email. This is actually like a press release that we helped with. Um, we redid the website, blog posts, press releases, as I already mentioned, social media posts, and then all sorts of different design assets. And because I happen to live in the area, I actually am like getting some of the printed assets shipped right to my house, like just because I happen to be in that mailing area. But it's really cool because like it's probably hard to see on here, but it has like it has their logo in the bottom corner there, and it has the logo of Growing Hope is the organization that like helps run the market basically. It's a really cool nonprofit. So it's got both of the logos down in the bottom. And then it has all of that visual branding. So even if you don't read it super closely, you can tell, oh, it matches all of the rest of the assets. So essentially, this is what you could do for yourself. You probably don't need things as quite as robust as, press releases or billboards um, when you're a vendor versus an entire market, but there's a lot of neat things you can do. So with social media, we recommend picking 1 to 2 platforms. It, before exhausting yourself trying to be everywhere, pick 1 to 2. We typically find Facebook and Instagram are most effective, but your community might be different. So, if you need to, you can ask around, do a little surveying of people who are shopping with you, see if that's where they're spending their time, or, maybe it's somewhere, maybe it's other platforms online. And then use a mix of your content. So, product spotlights, behind the scenes, market updates, and user generated content. So user generated content would be like having your, most regular customers say a little kind of like a mini testimonial, a little blurb, or encouraging them to record a little like video of themselves using the products they get from you and then sending that in, like things like that. That's user generated content. And believe it or not, like people do really like the behind the scenes. I know it's really common to just highlight products or say, we're going to be at the market this weekend and like this is our market special, or we're going to have this new product. And all of that is great. But people, when they're buying from small businesses, they also like to know more about the business, about you, about why you do what you do. Like if you do something differently, right? If you're regenerative or biodynamic or fifth generation, or they want to hear that story. So don't be afraid to share it. Be sure that you're posting regularly. So even once a week, truly better than nothing. Consistency is key for audience expectations and the algorithms. We like again, we're very much against having anyone burn out. We know you have enough other things going on. So we're not telling you that you have to be on all the platforms and posting every day. But at least once a week, just so that you're putting fresh content out there is good. And then leverage customer content. So if there are customers of yours or the market itself that is putting out posts that are relevant to you, be sure to reshare those posts because that will help expand your reach as well. So, if you're following your market and they share out something about, the musician this week or a cool demo that they're doing, be sure to share that out because then the people who follow you will see that. Also, likewise, if you sell to, local restaurants or something, and they tag you, or you can encourage them to tag you, then that will show up as well. Like it'll allow the folks that follow them to more easily know, oh, this is where, they get it from such and such farm. And then you can reshare those posts too. And then don't forget to promote special events and seasonal products, both in your posts and in your stories. So both on the static feed, and then when you share the stories that last for only like 24 hours. Email marketing. So in Q1 I did a lot of talks at different conferences about email marketing. So I spoke at Michigan's Farmers Market Conference and the National Farmers Market Conference, both about email marketing, because people get really exhausted with social media, understandably, and email marketing actually has a greater return on investment. It's really powerful. A lot of times you think, who wants more emails in their inbox? Um, but it's really great. And why it works is that it's a direct way to communicate with shoppers and it gets high engagement rates. And that's because the people who sign up, they want to hear from you, right? So as long as you're sending good emails, then it's not just another email in somebody's inbox. They're actually excited to hear what you have to say, right? And people feel like, oh, they can just more easily respond right back to you. And they know that you're a real human on the other end who is going to be reading that. It's also not it's not impacted by algorithms really. So it's just direct to you, which is really, really nice. So you don't have to worry about you finally get the hang of it and then the algorithm shifts and then you got to learn it all over again, that kind of a thing. But people often wonder, what should I send? So you can send either every week or every other week newsletters. It's often good to go with the cycle of like your farmer's market cadence. So some people go to the market every week, some people go every week or every other week. So you can align your newsletters to go out a few days before your markets, and that way you can let people know what you're going to have. You can highlight seasonal products, special events, seasonal recipes, all sorts of things. You could, if you do like on farm events, if you do collaborations with local restaurants or other shops or anything like that, any of these things, you can and should assume that the people who buy from you probably love eating locally as well. So if you pair up with other folks and do collaborations, then it's really great visibility for you. And you can use an easy tool like MailChimp, Constant Contact, or Sender. And be sure to use a business email for legitimacy. So you can go into something like Google Workspace and sign up for a low cost email. So it would be instead of like farmname@gmail.com, it would be like contact@farmname.com. So yeah, let me see. I'll read yours in just 1 second, Wendy. Let me switch ahead. Um, oh, okay. Looks like that's probably more for Barb than for me there. All right, so I'll move ahead to website and directories. So for website and directories, curating your digital marketing hub is going to be essential. So on your website, make sure that you have your hours, location, products, and a contact form. And it's also helpful if you list out any sort of payment options as well. Like, for instance, if you're cash only, if you accept like EBT or any of the other particular like food assistance programs that are unique to Colorado, or if you take like credit cards, any of those things, that will be really nice for people to know. It's also great to have signage on that at the market as well. And then, yeah, similarly, just make it really easy for people to know, especially if you are at multiple markets throughout a season, you can have a whole page that lets people know which markets you're at, the locations, the hours, et cetera, et cetera. Google Business Listing. So this is really great, totally free to have. And again, you can use those, the logo and like your high quality photos. So all the way back to what I was talking about earlier with your logo and your branded assets, you can repurpose those. We also always recommend getting some high quality photos if possible. You can repurpose those on your website and on your social media, and they can just do a lot of heavy lifting for you. So think about when is a great time for you for your season to have a photographer out, and then you want to just make sure you're booking far enough in advance so that you can get that scheduled in. But yeah, Google Business Listing is really great because that is going to work off of search engine optimization. So when people are looking for grass-fed beef near me, and as long as you can make sure that you are putting in those keywords and you have good photos and you have good contact info and all of that, then you are going to appear more easily. And then your local food directory listings. So we have the image here of the one for Colorado Proud. So be sure to participate in those. If there are any niche ones specifically for what it is that you produce, or if there is like a women's business directory or anything like that, look, look around, don't hesitate, and see where you can list yourself. Especially if it's free, may as well, because you never know who's going to find you there. And then a tip on this is keep everything updated. So, I'm sure it's probably happened to some of you at some point where you go to be a patron of a business and you saw their info somewhere, you drive all the way over there and then they're not open, and you realize that either they never updated their Google business listing or they never changed it on their website. So a good idea for you is to do this, think about it sort of like seasonally, like when the biggest shifts happen for you between seasons. So this doesn't have to be like between all four seasons, but if you think about going into, market season versus like winter season or whatever, any times where there are going to be big shifts, make sure that you have a checklist for yourself of all of those places where you may have info, and then just spend a little time going through and making sure all of that is updated.
I like that idea a lot, especially I think about our Colorado Proud as, boy, everybody's so busy. Our members are busy making great products or growing it. But yeah, take it maybe once or twice a year, make sure everything is at least up to date.
Yeah, definitely. And especially, if you are somebody that has like a prepared product that is a big seller for the holidays, getting everything ready for Q4 sales in Q3 is really good, and that can be a part of it, right? So, especially if you do a lot of different fairs during that time, a lot of different markets like craft markets, seasonal vendor markets, things like that, you'll want to, as you're going through, make sure that you're keeping an updated list of where people can find you and what is the info of those markets and, all of that, just so that it's really, really, really easy for people to know where they can shop with you. So, yeah. And then in terms of your booth, customers are really drawn to well presented booths, and first impressions matter. So, a professional looking booth equals higher sales. And so, this is why retail stores and grocery stores and department stores, why they spend so much money and attention on like end caps and layouts and everything, because it matters. It does make a difference. Luckily, you don't need to spend the millions that they do to do this, but it just takes some intentionality and some planning. So, first up is that signage. So, clear professional pricing and product descriptions really, really helps. Branded signage to reinforce identity also really helps. The farm that I used to work for several years, we would make little signs with the logo, and we would have like would say like salad mix printed on it. Then we would print those cards, we would laminate them, and then we would bring them to market and use whiteboard markers on them to rate the prices, since the price would usually fluctuate a bit throughout the season, and then thumbtacks around the edge to pin them down. So they were nice, they were clean. We could like wipe them off. And then it had the branding on it. Everything just looked really nice and professional. And then layout and display. So neat, open, an inviting setup that draws customers in. A good thing to do is, and we would do this ourselves, and I've done this with friends as well to help them, is before the market even begins, is to set out in like a grassy area the footprint of your market space and get out all your supplies, your tents, your tables, everything, and then try out different setups. And then walk through it as if you're the customer, right? And see what works, what looks good, all of those things, and then get it to where you like it and take a few pictures. That way, if people are ever helping you, you can just, show them the pictures. They can help you set up. It's really great, but it's so essential to walk through it as if you are the customer and see what kind of flows and what doesn't. And especially if there's like corner areas where people get like trapped and blocked in and everything, want to try to avoid those. And having eye level product really helps for browsing. So don't just have everything on one flat level. Make sure to have at least, you know, two different heights of your product so that people can see. And that way, if people are standing at the table, they're not blocking all of your product. You still have some stuff at different levels. And then engagement and marketing. So obviously, different markets and different states have different rules, but sampling and demos, if you're allowed to, is always great. Encouraging social media sharing and customer connections as well. We kind of already talked about that in terms of the user-generated content, but you could have like a fun hashtag for your farm as well, or just ask them to tag your account when they share. Anything like that is going to help get the word out more broadly. And then as we wrap up here before other Q&A, so there are many ways that Taste the Local Difference can support your farm or food business. So that can be overall campaign strategy, so marketing campaigns, custom branding and marketing packages for the markets, email strategy, templates and or management, social media audit and strategy, building out a website, or our new local food marketing academy, which is a course that you can take and go through and learn how to set this up on your own. And I have a resource, a free resource for you. If you don't already have it, I'm going to drop this link in the chat as well. But it is how to optimize your booth. Let me see. Oops. Let me go back to, oops, and I clicked away. Ah, where is, there we go. Okay. Clicked away to get the link, and then I lost the page. There we go. There's the direct link right there. You can either click right on the link and go right there and just get that downloaded directly to you, or you can scan the QR code with your phone and it will take you to the same link. But this is a really handy visual layout that will show you about, really great market stand setup strategy. And then it's also going to give you a nice little checklist there that you can follow. And then there's my contact info there as well. I'll put that in the chat. And then I'm also going to grab another link that is this Wednesday for farmers market managers. So if you want to share with your farmers market manager a free webinar talking about marketing, feel free. But yeah, I'll put my contact info in here as well. So in case you think of something after the fact that you want to ask, or you just want to chat more about marketing options, I would love to do that. But yeah, I think on that note, if anyone has other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Well, that was
Okay.
great. Does anybody have any questions or maybe just something you'd like to pick Erica's mind about as we get ready for farmers market season? I know you commented that, first impressions mean a lot, which, as we said, you go into the grocery store and they do. They think a lot about how they where they put their produce or, things like that. So it's something to really think about. What kind of tips would you have for the actual people working at the booth?
Yes, that's a great question. So, one thing I recommend is that I know markets can be a long day, but if you are able to stand, definitely stand. If it's a slow point, like if you get those slow points, feel free to have a chair to rest. But when people are coming up and coming through and like walking by, it's great to be standing if possible, and it's also really great to make eye contact with them, or especially if they're looking over into your booth and they're kind of looking at your stuff, to just say, hey, how's it going? How's your day? Just to start that engagement process with them. And especially like if they enter your space, then you definitely want to start engaging with them. This certainly doesn't have to be like a hard sell, or you don't have to make it awkward. But a lot of times, people don't always know, what it is that you have, right? Especially if it's something that it's maybe a little bit unique. They may not know what it is. And so they would be interested in hearing from you, like, what is it or what is special about it, right? Um, Also, even if it is a really common thing, but you have a promotion going on it, let them know about the promotion. So, let's say you have, local raw honey, or, something like that would be great, a great thing to talk about. Like, hey, do you know about the benefits of local raw honey? And then they might say like, oh no, I don't. Awesome. Then that opens up the opportunity for you to have a conversation with them and educate them about your product. If you sell vegetables, uh, and you're in the height of the season and you've got plenty of salad mix, we used to always do this. At some point, we would just have so much. We would usually do like a bag would be $4, but you could get two bags together for 7. So then it would make each bag 350. So even though we had very clear signage and all of that, people don't always read everything. So um we would just say like, is there anything we could help you find today, or what, like are you looking for something specific? And if they say like, no, I'm just, looking around, or whatever it would be, we would say, okay, well, just so you know, we're having a sale today on salad mix. It's two bags are only $7. They're normally like $4 each. And a lot of times just from mentioning that, because a lot of people buy salad mix every week for their families, we would sell a lot of salad mix because their likelihood was high that they, even with the signage there, that they wouldn't necessarily like read the sign, make the connection, think about it, all of that. So just by us bringing it up first, they would, make the sale. Same thing, if you have meat or something, you could say, oh, this week our like bratwursts are on sale, or, whatever the case may be. Any of those things that are just educating them and engaging them are really helpful. And then if you have that email list that sign up at the like as you're ringing them up, you could always say like, hey, if you get on our email list, we send out info, every other week. You'll you'll be like the first to know about different events or whatever, like whatever it is that you're actually sending out. And that way you can have them signing up from their phone while you're bagging and ringing up all of their stuff. So it just increases those odds of getting them onto your list where you can continue to market to them.
Yeah, good point. I like how you say it doesn't have to be a hard sale. I guess I believe if the folks are at the farmers market, they want to talk to you.
Hmm.
They choose to go to the farmers market to meet the producer, to meet who's actually making it versus going to the local grocery, right? So certainly talk
Right.
to them. I like that idea a lot.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. If they really were adverse to speaking, they would just go to the grocery store. They are there because yeah, they want to engage with the local food community and yeah, they're excited to learn about that stuff.
Well, great. Tammy, Devin, Wendy, Tracy, Ryan, do you guys have any questions? Or maybe you want to tell us what you're planning for your upcoming farmers market?
Yeah, and I also put in the chat the localfoodmarketing.com. We have tons and tons of resources as well.
Great.
So,
Well, and I think those are just great. Oh, Wendy, oh, yeah, getting started this year. Well, it's going to be awesome. I have no doubt. Wendy, where are you located? Oh, nice, Lakewood. Excellent. I live up in Evergreen, so I'll come down to your market. I love a farmer's market. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share about maybe what they're like things that they've tried that really worked well or tried and didn't work well? Sometimes we learn from those situations.
yeah, and I would say just
Oh, good job, Ryan. Getting
oh, that's great.
started.
Another person getting started.
Yeah, good. Commerce City. That I bet, yeah, that would be awesome in Commerce City. Well, and as Erika
Um,
pointed, there's great
yeah.
resources on their site.
Hmm. Yeah, and I would say, just like engaging with customers and letting them know all of the ways that they can keep engaging and shopping with you is really valuable. So rather than feeling overwhelmed, like, oh, I have to have everything set up perfectly before the first market, you don't. But having some assets in place is good, and then you can keep building off of that. Um, and especially if there are other ways that people can buy from you, learn about you, making sure that they know that is really, really wonderful. And learning about how to do some of your own marketing, like in our local food marketing academy, is really great because I just feel like, I mean, we all here feel like that just really empowers you to not be like confused about it or fearful about it. And then you understand better how to keep that engagement going with folks, especially when it comes to things like, email marketing. Like having people on an email list is great because, if social media ever goes down or you get locked out or something, it's not a platform that you own, but like your email you do, so you can keep engaging with folks.
Yeah.
If you ever switch markets or you're ever, doing something else or you expand market, you go into another market, you can always, communicate with folks that way and say like, hey, check me out here. Or if you're start selling wholesale somewhere in a retail shop, like, or to a local restaurant, you can let them know.
Well, and I think it'll be interesting to see this year's, particularly farmers markets, right? Because I think more and more people are really looking to local foods as a way to feed their family. So I think
Hmm.
this year is going to be a great year for farmers markets. And, and if you make it easy for the customer to buy, uh, Erica knows this. I always tell her
Yeah.
one of my pet peeves with farmers markets is if I don't know the price of something. Um, and I always appreciate like really clear
Yes.
signage because then I could like, oh, okay, I have enough cash for that, or oh, I'm gonna need to use a debit or Venmo or something like that. But you make it easier on your customers, offering different ways to pay or whatever. But to see your products, yeah, I think this year's going to be a great one, honestly. Well, excellent. Any other questions? Or Erica did share, I believe, did you share that link for the webinar?
Mhm.
Yep. And we have shared that out with our members as well. So hopefully,
Yeah, I agree.
and yeah.
Yep.
Well, gosh, great presentation, Erica, as always. And thank you. And thank you for everybody who joined. Our
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
webinar,
definitely,
go for it. Sorry,
thank you.
I
Always
apologize.
happy to help. Oh,
Lost you.
there we go. Thank you all. Yeah, don't ever feel bad about you can message me and happy to clarify or happy to give you an extra tip on something or that's what we're here for. We love to do it, so not a problem.
Excellent.
All
Well, thank you
right.
so much. And for our members, our next webinar is May 19th, and we're going to be talking about animal fats. Sorry, we're going to be talking about animal fats and all the business opportunities that surround that. So sorry for the technical difficulties. I don't know if my internet went out, but thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.